Came here to go to Morehouse College.
Awesome.
Leaving Morehouse College, went to Atlanta Law School, and opened a business, an all-state insurance agency for 30 years on Old National Highway.
Old National. Welcome to the Aerotropolis Atlanta podcast. My name is Shannon James, your president and CEO. And today's podcast is brought to you by our good friends at the South Fulton Chamber of Commerce. And today we have a very, very special guest, none other than the mayor of the new city of South Fulton, Mr. Bill Edwards. Bill, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Bill. And listen, Bill, you're probably, if not the most well-known mayor in the region. And so, what we love to do is transition a little bit, Bill, is so some of our listeners who may not know about you understand a little bit more about the man, because we communicate a lot.
Sure.
But now it's time to allow our viewers and listeners to know about the mayor, Bill Edwards. So, Mayor, let us know about, where you're from, your background, family, whatever you'd like to share with us.
Well, I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Okay.
Came here to go to Morehouse College.
Awesome.
Leaving Morehouse College, went to Atlanta Law School, and opened a business, an all-state insurance agency for 30 years on Old National Highway.
Old National.
And I chose to be on Old National
Okay.
to render that service, and I did very well. Right now, I'm retired, and my daughter's running the business.
Awesome.
And she's doing pretty good. I got started in all of this, the political end. Well, I guess it wasn't so much political at first as being a community activist. I was president of the Old National Merchant Association for 13 years.
Wow.
I was part of the chamber, of just a lot of places. I've been part of ARC as a citizen. And then about several years ago, in 2000, the seat for commissioner came up. And the former commissioner called me and said, "You need to run."
Wow.
And so I did. Of course, I didn't know I was going to run against 14 other people.
A whole load over there.
Yeah. But we won that election.
Nice.
And I was there for 14 years.
Wow.
And then when the whole issue of cityhood came about, I decided that maybe I need to move those talents that I have and my experience with South Fulton over on that side, and that's what I did.
Nice. Kind of like LeBron, right?
Yeah.
Transition your talents from not South Beach to the city of South Fulton.
Yeah, right. But even at that, I had 9 people running, so
Well,
I attract a lot of people.
Well, ain't no question about that,
Yeah.
Bill. It's who you are as a man and as a listener. And that's really awesome that, you transition, and everyone isn't as successful as you, right? To go from commissioner to mayor to hold those high-level positions. And it takes, obviously a lot of, servitude. It takes a lot of confidence and a lot of bandwidth, too. And so, but before we jump into your background, Bill, you mentioned some things that, I didn't know you were from Fort Lauderdale. I didn't even realize that you started your business. I thought you migrated to Old National, but you started on Old National and stayed on Old National. Is it anything that or something that you like for our listeners to know that they may not know about you? We played about singing and your voice, but talk to us, man. Is there anything that our viewers don't know about Bill Edwards?
Well, that the media hadn't said, I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Well, I have a family, and I have 2 daughters and a son.
Awesome.
I have 7 grandchildren.
Wow.
2 in college, 1 at Georgia Tech, and 1 at Columbus State University.
Wow, man.
So they kind of keep me busy. Then, of course, the others are in various bands and dance groups and track teams and all that kind of stuff. So it's very rewarding just to be there with them. My son works at Fulton County Jail as a IT specialist.
Wow.
And my daughter is a wonderful school teacher at Bethune Elementary School here in South Fulton off Old National Highway.
Of all, Mr. Old National, man,
yeah,
I tell you,
National Highway.
From business to your family. I mean, Bill, your family success obviously is a testimony to you and your leadership and what you've been able to accomplish. And kudos to you, man, seriously, because it's, I'm sure several people would love to have that same type of dialogue about their family and to hear that your daughter's in education, your son's in IT, grandkids in school. I mean, that's That's a lot of positive to be proud of. So I want to commend you, Mayor.
A
Seriously.
lot of money too.
I bet it is. I bet it is. Keep your pockets open, right? So Mayor, now that you're the mayor of the new city of South Fulton, which I think the city is just over a year old, help us understand your role as the mayor of the city of South Fulton.
The city's almost 2 years old.
Okay.
And of course, there's a definition of what the mayor is by what we call the charter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's much more than that.
Absolutely.
My philosophy of politics is simple. You're not going to get rich in politics. The only thing you need to do is serve.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're serving, continuously serving, that's all anybody can ask for you. I used to tell my kids, if you want to be a great teacher, just serve. If you want to be a great IT person, just serve.
Wow.
And so that's been my philosophy coming into this role and bringing 14 years of political experience with me.
Wow. That is huge. Serving, being a servant, that's, I guess that goes hand in hand with serving a public role, right? You almost have to embrace being a servant. So you've done that obviously well, Bill. Knowing that you mentioned serving as a commissioner and now mayor, what do you see as the two distinct differences between the two, from being a commissioner and being a mayor?
I tell the story all the time. In 2000, when I became commissioner,
Mm-hmm.
I got up that morning, I went to my office, met my staff, and I went to work.
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, when I became mayor, I got up and I didn't have an office to go to.
That's a big difference.
That's starting off a big difference. And then you combine that to the fact that at that time, me and the council people, we were the only employees we had.
Right.
And so starting something, every elected official should have the ability to start something from scratch.
Right.
It's a humbling experience.
Yes,
for
it
you.
is.
And now we have over 600 employees. We have a temporary place to go. I'm very proud of what the fire and police are doing. And it's been a major job just trying to construct and get that forward.
Right. So that's a distinct difference.
So the thing is having something already done,
Mm-hmm.
and the other end having to get it done yourself.
Right. It's almost like two polar ends of the spectrum, right?
Mm-hmm.
One you're figuring it out versus one that's figured out, right?
Right.
And how
That's
do you
exactly
get
right.
there?
That's
But the city has done a great job. I mean, you, like you mentioned, 600 employees, a lot of good activity going. Help our listeners understand some of the objectives for you and council for 2019, because as you mentioned, right, kind of getting started now, you got 600 employees. So now, what is the objective for the city now that you've kind of gotten the foundation under you? What are the next low-hanging fruit?
The objective never changed. The objective is to serve.
Mm-hmm.
And we're about doing that to improve the quality of life for every person, no matter where you live in the city. We don't make government's not in the business of profit.
Right.
Government, if they in the business, they're not in the business of losing money either. But we're in the business of taking your money and providing a service that you need.
Right.
See, parks and recreation don't make money.
Not at all.
Libraries don't either. But those are types of services that we need to provide, and this is what is demanded upon the people by their tax dollars. So it's still about service. Now, secondly, I ran on two things. And I know that one of the big things in South Fulton is economic development.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to thinking in my mind, what is it that we really need to push this issue of economic development forward? Mm-hmm. The first thing that came to my mind was public safety.
Yes, sir.
We have an outstanding police chief. Since I've been in office, we have sworn in, counting today, I swore in 4 new officers.
Wow.
Prior to that, I have sworn in over 40.
Wow.
And we're trying to beef our police force up to national standards. That's our goal. And our fire. We've ordering fire engines. We're ordering police apparatus. We're doing everything to make sure that our police and fire are well equipped to do what they do, and that is what? To serve.
That's right.
The other thing is education, Shannon.
That's right, man. Talk to them.
People think that, well, that's another government. But 53 cents out of every dollar that we take in taxes go to Fulton County schools.
I didn't know that, man.
That's a heck of an investment.
That's a big investment.
So even though we don't have anything to do with their government, how they run it and their policies, I think we do have to work collaboratively with them to make sure that our schools are what they supposed to do. So how do you achieve that? I have now what is called the Mayor's Council on Education. These are people I hand-selected. And I told them, here's what we want to do. I'm not dipping deep down into the issues right now. Even though they're there, we need to identify them. But we got to tell our story.
That's right.
And if we don't tell our story, nobody else will. Classic example. 2 years ago, 2 African-American males went out from Westlake High School, Val and Sal. And that's unusual for 2 African-American males to be valedictorian and salutatory.
Right. Very true.
But even worse is that, or better is that, one went to Stanford, one went to Harvard.
Whew. Ivy.
But I guarantee you can't find 50 people that know that. You also wouldn't find nobody that knows that Westlake High School last year got $31 million in scholarships. You also won't know that other school here in South Langston Hughes got $21 million. And just last week, a young girl from Westlake High School was on Steve Harvey's show.
Yes, she was.
Because she had
Amazing
over $1
story.
million worth of scholarships. If Steve Harvey can tell our story,
Right.
you know, we need to be telling our own story. And that's on the academic side. On the athletic side, we always progress. You know, you got the Lady Lions of Westlake, 2-time state champions.
2 times.
Did something no other school has done. They won the whole thing undefeated.
And that's something. Shout out to the Westlake Lady
And
Lions.
just the other day, one of the Lady Lions who left there and went to college at Mississippi State was drafted by the WNBA,
That's right.
24th in the first round.
That is amazing.
So I mean, look at all this stuff.
That's right.
But all you hear is, you know, when they had Randolph had the incident with the cookies and
Edible stuff.
listen, I went over there. You got helicopters going and SWAT over there, and everybody. I'm going like, what the heck? And over an issue that the people in the school, the administration of the school, was handling perfectly.
They did a good job.
Didn't need all of that.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
But that went national.
It did.
A little incident like this. So we're going to have to counter that stuff. Now, so why these two things, Mayor? Very simple. Nobody wants to come where they don't feel safe.
That's the truth.
And let me tell you about being safe. It's not that you're looking at statistics and saying that those statistics are going down. You got to be safe inside. You got to feel inside that you're safe. Nobody can come where they don't feel safe. Secondly, nobody can come where their children can't be educated. Economic development is just that simple.
You hit it.
And you get the pendulum going up on those two things, then you're going to start seeing all kinds of stuff coming in.
You hit it, Mayor. You hit it, Mayor. You know, I've been fortunate enough to hear you speak that on a number of occasions. So this is consistent. This is one of your consistent messages, and you're absolutely right about both of those components, right? Whether it's public safety, that's something that we talk about amongst our CID and Alliance a good bit. And how do we help deploy more resources around our existing police officers and jurisdictions around the area, and how do we assist in that endeavor, if you will. And then education, as you know, for the Alliance perspective, is a very important component. We've been fortunate to bring Dr. Beasley on his chair, and Dr. Jima Whitaker, who's the area superintendent, is the co-chair. So we're being very intentional about how do we partner with our schools, that's right, to make it more stronger, tell our own story. And we've challenged Jackson Spalding. Tiffany Thomas, special shout out to Tiffany, who's doing a really good job of crafting the strategy. So you're absolutely right about both of those components for economic development. And I want to thank you for keeping that message going forward, because
Absolutely.
the more it's like any old verbiage, right? The more and more you say it, the more and more to stick, and then the more and more you see the realities or actions behind it. And I know you're doing that in the city of South Fulton. And I want to appreciate you, Mayor. So, and that's awesome that, you know, public safety and education is a big component of the strategy for the city. Are there anything that's interesting or a fun fact about the city that you love to share with our listeners that they may not know of? One for me is that you guys are the largest in regards to land mass in the region, if not, I think, the state.
Well, in land mass, we're just several thousand acres short of Atlanta.
Wow.
We're the third largest city in Fulton County,
Right.
and we're the fifth largest city, uncombined city in the state.
Wow.
Combined cities are some cities combined with the county.
All right. Right.
And became,
Exactly.
So we're the fifth largest uncombined city in the state.
That's huge.
And what people have to understand is that, sometimes I have to get this over to my colleagues, is that you can't do everything at once.
That's right.
The expectations of people sometimes, well, we're a city now and we're going to get all this. Yes, we are, but it's going to take time. So how do we get there? We have a strategic plan that's in the making right now. It's something that's not going to take, you can't do in 2 weeks. It's going to take some time to get it done.
That's right.
All right? And it's going to tell us a lot of things that we really need to know. The big deal is about Old National now and this destination for downtown. Well, my position is very positive about this. I don't think the downtown development strategy is one we need to go on national right now. But what I do think we need to have is what's called a Main Street. Now, if you look at all the cities around us, none of them have a destination downtown, but all of them have a Main Street.
All of them have a Main Street.
Right.
You're
And so
absolutely
what
right.
happens in a Main Street, you can have more than one Main Street going at
You're
one
absolutely
time.
right.
And so what happens is, I like Main Street because you get DCA support, and you also get the law says that you have to have someone designated on that corridor to make sure that these strategies are intact. That to me is much more important right now. Now, when the study comes out, it may say, "Hey, Old National needs to be downtown." That's okay. We're already on the way.
That's right.
We got the Main Street thing going.
Exactly.
So, those are some of the things that we've gotten going and moving forward. One interesting thing I can tell you that I did change in Fulton County in terms of public safety. We bought police cars and fire engines. Wrong thing to do. I got a 28-year-old fire engine right now, a ladder truck that has gone through a lot of maintenance and stuff like that. I bet if we could add up all the money we put in maintenance and stuff, it would be incredible. So I said to everybody, let's lease them. It's the thing to do. When you get a certain mile, just turn it in and go on to get something else. I got one ladder truck and 2 fire engines coming right now. And that ladder truck in itself, had I bought it, was $1 million.
Woo. 1 million.
Had I bought it.
Woo.
Not counting in the fact that I would have paid for it and kept it 20 years.
Exactly.
And would have been, doing all kind of maintenance. Same thing with police cars. We're leasing our police. We got 27 coming in right now. We're leasing our police cars because it's economically it's the best thing to do.
That's right.
When we get some mileage on them that we're going over, we just turn them in.
That's right. That's right. Smart strategy, man.
Oh, yeah.
Smart strategy, and that's why they pay you the big bucks, right?
Yeah, I'm making all the money, right?
Well, Mayor, what I'd love to do is transition a little bit and kind of talk through some activity that's going on in the city, whether it's new companies, new activity, new development. I know there's a lot of rooftops being built in the city of South Fulton. Is there anything around that development aspect that you love to talk about today?
It's amazing that without having a strategy fulfilled, we're able to bring in new people to our city.
Yes.
You look at Gaucher's restaurant we talked about earlier.
That's
she
right.
come in here, we give her all the assistance she can and make sure she does her permitting processes right. We're there for the ground opens along with the chamber, and Gaucher is doing excellent over there. Just recently, we had the Goodwill to open an Old National Highway. Now, let me tell you, Goodwill told me, said, we came to Old National because they didn't want us in Peachtree City. And so I go to Goodwill. In town.
Me too. Too. Me and my kids.
They opened a wonderful store here.
Yeah, they have.
We're glad to have it.
That's right.
The other thing is, one of the crown jewels that we have right now is the Job Corps Center
That's right.
at Washington Road and Roosevelt Highway. We visited last month. We visited the Job Corps Center in Montgomery just to see how things are going. Myself, the district person was Helen Willis, just to see how things and how they put it. I was there, the police, and Miss Willis, to just talk about. I was so impressed. The Job Corps that we used to know
Right.
is not the Job Corps today.
And that's the truth.
It is,
That's
and
the truth.
It is a wonderful program, and some of the things that the kids are available to. I mean, you can go to Job Corps, and they're in agreement with one of the 2-year schools. If you go there for 2 years, you can take all of the credit from that school and go to Troy State free.
Free?
Yes.
No, I didn't know that. Wow.
And so, and just look at some of the things they were doing, like auto mechanics and some of the things that Montgomery was partnering with. All that police cars and stuff, the oil changes and all that stuff at the Job Corps.
At the Job Corps.
Oh, it's a wonderful program. You know, it used to be back in the day, a long time ago, if you were bad, nobody could do no with you. They send you to the Job Corps.
Right.
Well, today it ain't that easy.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm from Albany, so that's exactly that was the strategy. Yep.
Yeah, so they fulfilling that thing. But there's a lot of things that we hope to do. I'm excited about our Parks and Recreation doing the STEM program.
Oh, right.
We just started a new thing called Park Patrol.
Okay.
It's a separate division in our police department. We have beefed up our narcotics unit. We now have a K-9 unit.
I've been watching the stuff going on.
I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on. And we're doing something now in public safety that we haven't done even when I was commissioner. Mr. Meadows, Chief Meadows, he's a numbers man.
Yes, he is.
And he does what is called intelligence-driven policing. Mr. Meadows meets with me every Monday, and he brings me the crime stats in our city. Now, if I was to ask you, what's the number one crime in our city, what would you say?
Car thefts, maybe?
No. It's close.
Yeah, I mean, just be an idea.
Yeah. Theft from cars.
Theft from cars. Well, the only reason why, you got to know now, I follow that stuff. So
Yeah. Well, theft from cars is we had one murder in South Fulton, and that's because the guy got shot, but he didn't die till 2019. but violent crimes is another thing. And the other thing that we have an issue with is petty thefts.
Right. Yeah.
Theft from the Home Depot, theft from Walmart, theft from Publix. And very recently I went down and visited those managers. Just to see how we can work together to lower those numbers.
Right.
Because those numbers are in our crime stats.
Yeah, they are.
And you really don't want that.
You really don't.
Another issue like aggravated assault. If you got 7 people in the room and somebody comes here and brandishes a weapon, that's 7 aggravated assaults.
What? Wow.
So that goes in the numbers too.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things. We're still down from last year in our crime. We're still down. Other things we're doing is that we're rehabbing some of our fire stations.
Right.
All right, we're going to be doing that, and pretty soon we're going to be removing one of those stations. We've got some land that we're going to probably build another one. That's very important because those people live there.
Right.
It's like home to them, and we need to remodel and refurbish all we can. So we're doing all those kinds of things. I think that this city is moving progressively forward. It's a lot of bickering, a lot of arguing sometimes, but you got to get beyond that.
That's right.
And I can tell you this, as much as you see us, whether we're in the paper, whatever we're doing, if you go back and look at the accomplishments that we have done based on all that other stuff,
that's right,
it totally outweighs it.
It does.
It just the only downfall is that had we not done that other stuff, we might have been farther along than we are today.
What's a young city though, Mayor? I mean, you got first time elected officials, you got new city, new workings. It's like growing pains, right?
Yes, and we got a great staff, man. We put together, and thanks to Odie Donald, who's our
shout out to Odie.
Yeah, our city manager. Odie has done a phenomenal job.
Yes, he has.
In choosing people to come into the administrative staff. And plus, Odie's deal is, Odie could talk for me any time he gets ready. He's very professional. He's very learned. And Odie stands his ground to a certain degree, and but he's always professional with it.
Absolutely.
So he's been a jewel in terms of helping us move forward.
I would agree. And Odie joined us for a podcast before, and he killed it just like you're doing. And so Odie, special shout out to Odie Donald, city manager, who takes on a lot and really embraces the city of South Fulton, the residents, and the future potential that we all see, Mayor.
Well, through his leadership too, we signed a IGA with the county for 2 years,
Okay.
which means that we hired the county to perform services for us until we could stand up on our own. Of course, I thought the fees was exorbitant, but we had no choice.
Right.
But I want you to know that 2 years that we transitioned everything over to our side in 8 months.
In 8 months.
8 months.
Wow.
Okay.
That's impressive.
The other thing is that, when there's such a thing called a TAN, and that's nothing new. All governments use them. It's called a tax anticipation note. That tax anticipation note simply says that I'm gonna borrow money from the bank based on the respective taxes I'm gonna have for that year.
Yep.
We do it all the time.
Yep,
Here's the
I've
deal.
seen
We borrowed $14 million. And I knew that the scary part about it, I said, oh my God, it's kind of like, you leaving your mama house, you never borrowed a car before,
Right.
and you're going to get some exorbitant rates because you're new. And so that bothered me. But we got that thing for less than 5%. I think it was like 2%
Oh man,
for a new. Now here's the clincher.
that's a good structured pricing.
You have to borrow that money, but you have to pay it back by December that year.
Yep. It is it's a straight line. Yes.
Right. We paid it back in November. These are things that people don't never know about.
But that's huge, man.
It's huge. It's huge to
huge.
be there. So we're running a good government.
Right.
I'm just trying to make them understand now that you don't have to use your money all the time, which is tax money, to get things done. We go back to them places where you used to work all the bank.
Yep. I know.
And get them to, to give us loans to do things. So that's going to be our next step. So we're educating on that.
Excellent. Well, Mayor, if I could ever lend advice or word, I spent 15 years in that world, but I'm sure the capacity you have around you could, more than fulfill what your needs are. So.
Well, let me listen. We have a city manager form of government. That simply means I am the voice and the face of the city. Then you have the policymakers. They're called council people.
Yes.
But the city is run by the city manager. He's supposed to do all the hiring and the firing, the implementations of things, along with the consultation of the council. So it's very simple as to what our mechanism is. It's just the fact that sometimes we just got to let it work.
Well, you know what? Sometimes it just takes time, right?
Sure.
For it to let it work, and I know that's inevitable at this point, right?
Yes.
Mayor, we've talked about a lot today. We've covered a lot of points. Not only about you, about the city as well. Is it anything that we didn't talk about today that you'd like our listeners or viewers to know about the city of South Fulton, about your efforts, activities, or the direction? Anything?
Listen, we have, over this year, we have put $94 million in the roads.
Wow.
Some of our worst roads have been resurfaced this year. People don't understand that to do a 1 mile of road costs you $1 million.
Oh, yeah. I know. Oh, yeah.
So each year we have what is called a T-Splus, which is money we get back in tax and stuff to help us with our road projects. So we're going to be doing some more of that next year. The other thing, too, is that I want to bring public art to our city. I think public art and Councilwoman, what's her name?
Gilliard.
No, not Gilliard. Councilwoman Catherine Rao.
Rao. Okay.
Yeah. I'm going, my mind left me.
No, you good.
She's been a very good advocate of that, too. Yeah. We have a lighting plan going on right now. We're going to change our lighting, all the lighting LEDs.
That's important.
And so we're kind of breaking that. It is so much that we are doing that we've gone out to other cities to look at their city halls and how did they build them, what mechanism they use to build them, how do they finance them. We brought back a wealth of knowledge on that.
That's important.
So pretty soon down the line, we'll be looking at not things that I want. I want to see town center.
There you go.
We have to educate our people. See, in South Fulton, years ago, the thing why that brought them out here was I can get me some land. I can get a half acre, 5 acres. Okay, that was all right till you couldn't cut that grass no more.
Right. Bush hogging.
And the baby boomers today
Yeah.
can't find the ranch style home that they're looking for.
Yeah.
So if we bring in, if I can just get one of those started,
Okay.
like Vining,
Okay.
you know, places like that. I think it would create another culture because guys like yourself, you know, y'all ain't cutting no grass. Y'all want to be around. You want a loft or some apartment, nice condo somewhere, and I think we need to provide that. The other thing it does, it gets people off the street.
That's right.
And it's a real sense of live, work, and play.
That's the truth right there, man. And I tell you, contrary, I'm more of a field guy. Remember, I'm all been in Georgia, so I cut my own grass, I trim my own hedges.
Yeah.
But you're spot on. Most of the guys or women my age or younger, they don't want to deal with that stuff. They still look at me crazy when I say I cut my own grass.
But the baby boomers don't want to deal with it either.
Oh, not at all. Who's cutting the grass?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Mayor, you know, you hit on a lot of topics that I think the Alliance and our role would love to help and support. Especially you got, you know, a guy like Chris who's running economic development.
Chris Pack's doing a wonderful job.
Wonderful job. Chris and I, and constant dialogue. Sometimes we're on the phone late at night just talking through opportunities and strategies and how we can work better together. And so I'm real excited about, you know, having Chris on board. Obviously, Odie and yourself and council. So now, as you guys continue to grow, we continue to grow with you, and we continue to make this area a true destination, right? Destination South Fulton. Right?
The last little piece we have to do, and we're in the process of doing that. We had a meeting with the Fulton County Board of Commissioners. We have some facilities that we have to have some conversation about.
Okay.
Facilities like the libraries,
Right.
Wolf Creek,
Oh yeah.
Tom Lowe shooting range,
Oh yeah.
the land that they use for public works over on Stonewall Tail Road. Those things and also don't forget that is the South Fulton Art Center.
Oh yeah.
The Performing Arts Center.
Oh yeah.
And some of those things legally we're supposed to have. Some of those things we're in negotiation because if we can do this without going legal,
Right.
that's the best thing.
Right.
If we can come to some agreement and go and be able to do it. I think we're headed that way with this conversation we had, and I think we're going to work out things amicably for everybody.
That's important. Both sides, right? Mayor, what's your take on or position now where we are with Fulton Industrial? I know that's always a big topic for City of South Fulton and the importance of what it means to the school system.
I really think we should have had Fulton Industrial this year.
This past session.
This past session.
Right.
I think we did everything we were supposed to do.
Right.
What's interesting was, you know, the last couple of mayors vetoed that. But this mayor said, I mean, I'm not mayor, but governor. This governor said, look, I don't want to veto this thing. Sit in a room and y'all work it out.
Figure it out.
The Fulton County Public Schools came. City of South Fulton came. There was one more entity. Oh, and County Commission came.
Wow.
Atlanta was invited, did
Those
not
are the
show.
players.
APS was invited, did not show.
Yeah.
When you had those players in the room and they sat down and had an agreement that works well for everybody, that was the first step to dealing with this thing. So we put it out there. It passed the House 157 to nothing. We got over to the Senate and we hit a roadblock. I don't understand when entities who are stakeholders agree to do something. What's the problem? But I think there were a lot of lobbyists who lobbied against us because they felt that Atlanta should have the rights to some of that land. So Senator D'Angela James brought it up, and because of the way it was going, she moved that they table it. And table simply means that we got to go back next year, just to the Senate, though. We've already got the House. We didn't want. If it had failed, we would have started all over again.
Right.
But just got to go through the Senate and not the House. However, during that time, Fulton Industrial Boulevard is open for annexation. So we are doing what we can to get all the businesses to come over and sign over. I think we're doing pretty good. And so it's just going to be just a tug of war about these annexations.
I know it. I know. I'm sure Fulton Industrial Boulevard is kind of in the middle there, and special shout out to Gil Prado and Tom Flanagan. They've done an amazing job with the CID, and I'm sure they're a critical tool and asset because you've been involved, Bill, with the CID since formation.
Sure.
And I remember that. So,
well, see, let's think about it. Atlanta, you got the coach coming.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna be involved with the big establishment that's going to be at the airport along with College Park. All right? You got your own problems. All right?
Yeah.
Why 7 miles of highway? Why does 7 miles of highway bother you?
That's a good question. It'd been good to have them at the table. We could have figured it out.
Yes. I think we could have.
Well, I'm hopeful, Mayor. I'm hopeful that the two parties will come together and the leadership will be, and hopefully we'll look back on this podcast and remember what was in process.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, well, we have served Fulton Industrial for over 14 years as unincorporated South Fulton. All right? That was us.
That's right.
So what's the change?
Yeah, your office is off Fulton Industrial.
Yeah, so what's the change? I mean, why change? We've been doing this all this time. But you have some major businesses out there who side with Atlanta, we understand.
And it's a good point, Mayor. Mayor, we've covered so much today. If there's anything that our listeners or our viewers heard today that they want to maybe follow up on or maybe go to the website for the City of South Fulton and find, how can they find you or how can they find access
they can
to the website?
Go to the website, and it's City of South Fulton, GA.gov. And you'll see a lot of good information on there. We're using a lot of technology to do things.
Yes, you are.
One of the things I like is the one we got called C-Click Fix, where is there a pothole in our city? You take a picture of the pothole. Right. It automatically puts it on the GPS. That pothole is fixed within 48 hours. So we're using a lot of technology. If they go on there, you can look at every check we write. In this city, you can see it on our website.
Transparency, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
So there's a lot of good things in there we want people to get involved with.
Awesome, Mayor. Well, I want to thank you, Mayor, seriously, for joining us today. Yeah. It's always great to be in your presence and to be a sponge off of you for sure. And when we want people to understand that our partnership is important between the City of South Fulton and the Aerotropolis. And so as you guys continue to grow, we want to just be a tool or an asset or a resource to continue that growth momentum. So I just want to thank you, Mayor, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And joining our organization. The City of South Fulton was the last city in South Fulton to join us. And so it really meant a lot to us in our leadership. So seriously, thank you, man.
Just don't let me ask for a refund.
We'll try not, man. We'll try not for sure.
Good.
Thank you, man.
Thank
seriously,
you so much.
Absolutely, man. So everyone, thank you all for joining us today for the Aerotropolis Atlanta podcast. And we want you to follow us, right? We're on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Follow us at aeroatl.org or just the hashtag AEROATL. Please follow us. And we're excited to bring this podcast to you from our friends at the South Fulton Chamber of Commerce. Thank you all again for joining us. My name is Shannon James. I'm the president and CEO of the Aerotropolis Atlanta Alliance, where we want to help you land here and take off. Thank you.